Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University.
Welcome to the online video session of this particular BA English course. Today we are going to discuss ENGM-308, the study of essay. The paper is about the study of essay, and as we had already discussed unit number 1 and unit number 2, that is about the form and the types of essay. So today we have to discuss unit number 3 onwards. That is, the topic of that unit is Of Love by Francis Bacon. So let's discuss the unit onwards. Yes, you can see over here, it is the course of third year BA, TYBA, the study of essay, ENGM-308, the unit 3 of Love by Francis Bacon. I am in front of you, Assistant Professor Dr. Ushma A. Bhatt from the Department of Humanities and Social Sciences. First, we had already discussed how to write an essay and what are the effective types of essay. Here you can see in the picture the genres of an essay, showing persuasive essay, descriptive essay, narrative essay, and the final one is expository essay. So we had already discussed certain kinds of essays, but now today onwards we are going to focus only on one particular essay that is written by Francis Bacon, who is known the father of the genre of essay. The essay is generally deals with inquisitivity. It is something playful about the topic and instead of preaching to the reader. So basically here there is a saying that an essay writing is not a preaching, but it is one kind of playful, intellectual, intelligent kind of learning. The essay wants the reader to think about the topic and the purpose to make one to read, think and give perception. 3 things are mentioned in the learning of the essay that you should remember. That essay needs to be learnt with a view to develop your thinking. Then after reading the essay, what are you going to do? Are you giving your perceptions that you need to show? And the final one is giving your ideas, views and reviews on that particular writing. That is the main objective of essay reading or essay writing as well. The Frenchman Montaigne, yes, we had discussed this point in the previous 2 sessions also, unit 1 and unit 2, that who had initiated the form of essay, or who was the founder of the form of essay. And I had already given you the name Michael D. Montaigne, who had found the form of essay. He was the first author to describe his essays. He was a Frenchman and his period of time is mentioned over here. It is during 1533 to 1592. So basically you can understand he is the man of 16th century onwards. Now Montaigne began to compose his essay in 1572, but the name of the first book edition is known as Essay. So previously there was a question in your mind, or you might be thinking that where did this particular word, what's the etymology of the word, where did this word essay came from, where did it come from? Then naturally the answer is the word essay is generated from the French language and it hailed from the French language. In the beginning of the 17th century, social manners and the cultivation of politeness and the training of an accomplished gentleman became the theme of many essayists. Look, as I told you, 16th century was the period of time of Montaigne. After remembering Montaigne's initiation and predecessor work as in the form of essay, in the 17th century there were some essayists who were writing the essays for the sake of development of politeness, for the discussion of social manners, for the discussion and training of accomplished gentlemen. So almost all the essays were written during the 17th century. They were the essays of society, essays of refinedness, essays about social manners. These were the topics of these essays, and in several countries the essay became the chosen vehicle of literary and social criticism. Even there were certain essays which I had already discussed in unit 1 and 2, that people were fighting in the 17th and 18th century, quarreling, fighting in the sense quarreling, discussing heavy discussions, hot discussions, political fights. All these things were happening in the form of essay. Some were writing the essays in one periodical, and another team is writing some of the essays in another periodical, and there were dual discussions and dual quarrels in the intellectual way. So these things happened due to the recognition of the form of essay. It is written over here, you can see that, look, in several countries the essay became the chosen vehicle of literary and social criticism. Even people were utilizing this weapon, this instrument, to do criticism also to another intellectual person or so and so person, and they utilize this particular form of essay. The genre became semi-political, earnestly nationalistic, and polemical, playful or bitter. Four kinds of things you can find. It was utilized as a playful weapon also, it is utilized as a political instrument also, it is used in the form of criticism also, and it's the way to do the bitter comments also, to give bitter comments to another person. So the essay is a form, it had become the social utilization form to show the emotions, ideas, views, reviews, political ideology, thinking pattern of so and so person or of an individual. Look, there is a writing. R.L. Stevenson, Robert Louis Stevenson and Willa Cather, they wrote with grace on several lighter subjects, and many writers including Virginia Woolf, Edmund Wilson, Charles Du Bois, they mastered the essay as a form of literary criticism. So essay had been utilized under the umbrella term of literary criticism also. You might know the great name Charles Lamb, who had been writing the essays, as well as you might know the great name William Hazlitt, who had been very popular writing the essays. And not only these people, there were many others, Bernard Shaw, A.G. Gardiner, and many more, who were writing the essays. The term essay refers to any short piece of non-fiction, an editorial, feature story, and critical study, an excerpt from a book or any writer. So you can see that it is merely a non-fictional kind of writing. It is a prose composition with a focused subject of discussion or a long systematic discourse. It is a literary device for saying about almost everything to almost everything, anything. So here there are two sides which are displayed in the form of essay, that anything can be displayed in the form of essay, and whatever the things could be mentioned or showed in the form of essay. Brief composition in prose that undertakes to discuss a matter, express a point of view, or persuade us to accept a thesis on any subject whatever. So there is a saying that even the thesis kind of writing could be indulged, or it could be considered in the form of essay. Then Dr. Johnson's definition is given over here: a loose incursion of the mind, an irregular indigested piece, and not a regular and orderly performance. So there is a saying by Dr. Johnson. It is, of course, it is his personal view. We can't take it in a universal form. It is his personal view that it is an indigested piece and it is not a regular form and it is an irregular outcome of the ideas of the mind, but it is not so generally. It may happen that there is an elaborate essay written with composition, with composed mind, with coherence and sequence of thoughts, with best ideologies, with the best quotations, and there are standard kinds of essays even you have come across when you have been writing or reading the literature, because Sainsbury describes it as a work of prose art. And essay is defined as it is one of the most flexible and adaptable literary genre. Of course, there are many other genres. Short story could be a very interesting one, and not only short story, poetry, odes, dramas, novellas, all these are interesting. But apart from these, the essay form is very much popular as well as flexible. The utilization of the word, as I told you, the word came from French language, and then there is an essay in an individual attempt, and it can be written in formal as well as informal. Yes, there are two styles of writing the essay. You should remember this. If you are trying to focus on writing the essay, first you need to think about 4 kinds of essays: descriptive essay, narrative essay, expository essay, or an essay of peculiar kind. But apart from all this, there are 2 basic forms of essay writing, and those 2 styles are very much famous. One is informal essay writing style and another is formal essay writing style. The tone adopted by the essayist is humorous or serious. It may happen that the essayist has written the essay for the sake of humor, and sometimes it happens that the essayist has written the essay for the sake of a discussion of any serious kind of topic even. As for example, there is an essay, I have to share with you the name, The Rules of the Road. It is written by A.G. Gardiner, where he has become very much stern and serious about the breaking of the rules of the road by the civilian and the people of the Britain. But at the same time, you have come across another essay. It is also very famous. It is written by Bernard Shaw, and it is about the capitalism and the individual, the democracy, the capitalism and the individual, and which has been very much serious, as well as there are certain things which can be humorous, even a small minor point. So every particular essay is written with a different tone, and it has been showing the different ideologies of an individual, of an essayist as well. Bacon. Now look, we have taken this topic for the sake of Bacon only, because the main title of the topic is Francis Bacon's essay, an essay of love. A biographical note shows that Bacon's period of time starts from 1567 till 1626. As Homer was in the initiation of epics, in the same way Bacon was for essays. And that is why there is a saying that Francis Bacon is known as the father of essays. Bacon is the greatest English essayist of informative, impersonal or aphoristic kind of essays. Look, aphoristic means what? It means the essays which are having many adjectives, or they are discussing about certain adjectives, not as a form, as a verb form, as a form of parts of speech or as a grammatical term, but as for example friendship, love, religion. These kinds of aphoristic words are taken, and the title is taken, and the whole ideology of Bacon's mindsets, Bacon's individual views and reviews were reflected in his essays. Charles Lamb is the best essayist of the personal kind. Bacon's essays are known as receptacle of detached thoughts. Look, they are quite different, and you can say that they are very much obscure even. And most important thing, Bacon's essays were not an easy piece to engulf. It could not be digested by easy or initial practices. One has to read it deeply, one has to go in deep, one has to think over it, think and sit and read, and again think and sit and read. This kind of method should be implemented to understand the hard philosophical ideology, the sincere note, the serious thoughts of Bacon's ideology. Every essay is a miscellaneous collection of ideas. There is a saying, look, as I told you, receptacle of detached thoughts. Detached thoughts in the sense, the thoughts which were not in general or common universal kind of thoughts, but they were quite difficult and somewhat different. Bacon's essay of love is about the evils of depraving and unchecked love. There are 4 kinds of love he had discussed in his essays. One love that is about the evils of depraving and unchecked love, means one person falls in love without any hesitation or without any thinking, and he may take rash action, he may use more money, he may not be in a condition to think or work on his career, though he is developing and pursuing his career, and he stops pursuing his career and he moves towards the affection and attraction of love. This kind of evils depraving kind of unchecked love means, this Bacon wants to say that person is not much more sincere about the career, but he is attracted due to the emotions and feelings of love. Then there are 2 another kinds of love he had discussed in his essay: the goodness of marital love and the purity of universal love. As for example, I give you marital love, you understand the love of husband and wife, and who both are very much fidel and submissive and fidel to each other. But the purity of universal love means what? As for example, if you see the lamb in the road, and as for example, if you see the birds flying in the sky, and so one bird comes very near to you and it tries to eat the corns from your hand, this kind of purity of universal love could be considered between the human being and the animals also, human beings and the birds also. And the unchecked love or evils of depraving love means the consequences of these 3. So there are 3 kinds of love Bacon had discussed. The purpose of the essay is to explain and affect all humankind with his thoughts. Look, main idea of Bacon was to have all the human beings, was to think about his ideologies, and his ideologies could be reciprocally come under the categories of the under the human categories. That's what he wishes to say. He wanted to see the bulk, he wanted to see the mask, what everyone is thinking after reading his essays. That's what he wanted to show. The stage is more beholding to love than the life of man. This is the bitter reality, that life of a man is very serious and sincere issue, but when you think about love, the lavender kind of feeling, the feeling of uneasiness, the feeling of affection, love, all this is very much bookish, and it seems like unrealistic, it seems like virtual, and it is quite artificial, because life of a man has many adversities. He has to do many duties in the day-to-day work. So Bacon wanted to show the difference between the marital love, purity of universal love, and love of evils depraving. He begins by comparing love to the stage, and love mirrors the stage because it is filled with comedy, tragedy, mischief and fury. Look, love could be seen and displayed and even felt also and even felt by human beings on the stage only, because in the real life, if a person is quite emotional and he is not able to focus on his career, then naturally love becomes a hindrance, love becomes a barrier, love becomes a resistance to pursue the tasks of the day-to-day life. That's what he wanted to say. He says love demands sacrifices, compromises and offers a lot more sorrow and torment than it displayed on the stage, because on the stage you see that it looks very much artificial and much more filmy kind of, it is a story kind of a thing on the stage. But when you come in the real life and you try to focus on the real issues of your life, you will be serious about the emotion of love also. As for example, here he says, look, it is unrealistic because love often deals with ecstasy and triumph. Look, these are the two things which are very much found in the emotion of love. People are feeling like ecstasy and they feel like triumph, but afterwards when the love is vanished or the feeling of love is no more, they'll come to know that they are on the earth and this is the real life and they have to do many tasks, and now the time has already scared, time has been gone. It is noble and in a lot of ways easy to understand, but in real life love is more mischievous and difficult to understand, because love could not be felt. People have to follow many commitments to pursue that love or to sustain that love in the relationship. Relationship is one kind of a thing where one has to sustain the love in the relationship, and you know that relationship is always demanding. One has to do many sacrifices, many struggles, one has to give many things to sustain the relationship. That is what is the idea in Bacon's essay also. When you go and read the text of the Bacon's of the love essay by Francis Bacon, you will understand that these are the same views which are written in the slide as well as similar in the self-learning material. Most thought-provoking statement Bacon has given, look, it is impossible to love and to be wise at the same time. And he had given many examples of contemporary time. History and past are full of stories, and conclusion is those who were wise had remained aloof from the enchantments of love. So Bacon wanted to say that if you are in your brains, if you are alert, if you are vigilant, if you are intellectual, if you are smart, and if you are aware about the reality of the life, please do not fall in love. Try to remain aware of love. Try to remain aloof from the love, from the feeling of love, and pursue the duties and tasks first. Pursue the duties and tasks first, even in the relationships. He had given many examples of Greek and Roman stories. All these stories are true and the examples he had given, but I wish to tell you one important thing over here, that most of the stories show the feeling of love. They are not the reality. He compared the love as wine, the weakness of men and women, an argumentative essay written by Bacon. Look, here he means to say that love could be exactly compared with alcohol, with the wine, because it does not show you the reality, the real picture, but it always keeps you in artificiality, in dreams, in the stage of dream, and you are always in a daydreaming mood. So here we had discussed the essay of love by Francis Bacon, unit number 3, and as you come to know about the unit, and if you are having any queries, you can write to us and tell us about the important things which you want to learn furthermore. Good luck to you.